In this video we're going to tie a fly called the EP mole crab. First thing we're going to do is start with the Gamakatsu SL11 3H number 1 hook and some 6/0 Veevus fluorescent green thread. Then we're going to take a pair of large lead eyes and we're just going to tie those just in front of the middle section of the hook, about a third of the way back from the eye. Then I'm going to take my thread and just spiral it back all the way back here to the bend. Then I'm going to take a pair of large black mono eyes here. I'm going to tie them in centered on the shank of the hook with just a few nice tight wraps of thread. There we are. And I find it easiest at this point of the fly to actually invert the hook in your vise. Then we're going to take a little chunk of tan furry foam. You can also buy these pre-made from Puglisi himself. You can buy them pre-sized, pre-made, so you don't have to guess or shape them. We're just going to take this body and we're just going to sneak a wrap of thread into the tip of that, just like so. Then you can kind of just stick it off to the side. Then we're going to take a tan woolly critter brush. I'm just going to tie it in kind of on the underside of the fly here, and I'll just take it all the way back here to the eye. That'll be kind of our main color of the fly. Then I'm going to take a short streamer brush in orange and basically do the same thing. Then I can take my thread forward to about the halfway point in between my two eyes. I'm going to take a large EP claw. I'm basically going to tie that in on each side of the hook. Now when I tie this claw in, I want to make sure that the little knot or the little joint of the claw sticks out past the body or the furry foam. I want it to just stick out past the furry foam. I want to be able to see that joint. So then once I have it about the right length, I can do the other side. And I want to make sure they're about even. Once I'm happy with them, I can really lock them down and then trim out the excess tag end there. Then I can take my thread forward here. The first material we're going to wrap is going to be the orange streamer brush. In this one, I just want to make kind of some spiraling wraps. This just adds some color to the crab. I'm not looking to really build up a body with it, so I just take 4 or 5 fairly loose turns and capture it. Then I'm going to go through with my woolly critter brush. And this one I can do just a few more wraps with, since it's going to be my main color on the fly. And you can kind of put it in between some of that orange to really make sure that some of that tan or some of that orange shines through the tan. I want just a hint of that orange, to kind of the fuzziness to show through. And once you have it wrapped up, you can capture that one. A couple wraps. Trim out the brush. Now we can kind of pull all our little legs from the woolly critter brush down and out of the way. I don't want to trim these. So I'm just kind of pull them out of the way. We're going to give our body kind of a little landing pad to glue onto. So I'm just going to pull them all out of the way. Then I can trim a little bit of a landing pad for our body. Then I'm going to take just a little bit of hot glue, and I'm just going to lay down a little strip of hot glue right down the middle. Then I'm going to quickly just take my body and lay it on top and press down to make sure that it gets nice and secure on the body. Give it a second to dry. Then you can kind of trim up the body here if you didn't get it quite even. I'm going to lay down a wrap as well on the body just to secure it. Now, this is optional. You can do a weed guard. Just take some hard mono and some 20 or 25 pound. And I just kind of loop it. And I lay the loop overlapping the eye. Lay down several tight wraps, and I can just pull up on the loop. I'll lay a wrap or two behind it. And I can whip finish. You can kind of leave your furry foam covering the eye. The furry foam is so soft, you can see I can just take it and move it with my fingers. A piece of mono just pokes right through it, so that's not a problem. Then I'm just going to take my two mono pieces and trim them right to the hook point. And then lastly, I'll take some Zap-A-Gap and I'll put it right up on my thread wraps and also on my lead eyes as well. And then you can take a marker if you like and kind of model up the crab to make it look a little more natural. But essentially this is what you will end up with, is a little crab. You can see his little eyes back there, and as you strip it, it'll be pulling back like it's kind of kicking away from the predator. You can round out your furry foam a little bit too. Sometimes you get little sharp angles on it. I like my little crabs to be perfectly round, just kind of a little picky thing. And if you want, you can take a little bit of a marker here. I like to use brown, and you can just kind of model up the top of it. It doesn't take much. Gotta be real careful not to overdo it, but you can just kind of put a few little model marks on there. That'll make the fly look a lot more natural. And that is the mole crab.